Hey, welcome to Gun Stuff. Today we get a chance to bring you the SAR 2000. So we've had the SAR lineup. We've been going through it here on the show. We've had the privilege of getting the entire lineup and being able to run through them. So this is their stainless steel, all forged 2000. So this one's chambered 9mm. It's a double action, single action. Comes with a 17 round mag. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with doing some accuracy testing and doing some group testing with different types of ammo. So we're going to start off with 115 grain, 124 grain, a couple different types of ammo. We'll show you the groups and then we'll talk about a little bit of the characteristics with the gun. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the accuracy testing with 115 grain Federal. All right, so now we're going to move on to the 124 grain Federal ball ammo. Again, as always, we're shooting a bigger group. We're shooting like 5-shot groups just to get a bigger sample size of each one. So I'm going to go back, load some more mags, get some different ammo in here, and we'll jump right back on it. All right, so now we're trying out the Fiocchi 115 grain. The SAR 2000 also has a 4.5-inch barrel, and it's a stainless barrel. It has target crown on the end for accuracy, so that's one of the added perks I like about this as well. Okay, so now we're going to try the 124 grain Federal Hydroshocks. All right, so we got one more ammunition to test. We'll go up and load it. Be right back. All right, so our last ammo we're going to test today is 124 grain Winchester Lawman. So this gun also comes with 3-dot low pro combat sights. So not much adjustment in there. You can do a little bit of adjustment for drift. Nothing really on the front for elevation. These are meant to be more combat heavy use sights, so they don't have a lot of adjustment in them. All right, so we're doing our testing here right now just for our accuracy testing and just trying to see what kind of bullets this gun likes. We're shooting all the different bullet weights and a couple different brands, but we're doing everything at 7 yards and we're just using a standard 3x5 card. So let's go ahead and take a look at our groups. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure these real quick and just see exactly where we're at on these. I'm just gonna go from center to center on these bullet holes. So about 1.5 inches there, about 2 inches there, and 1.25. I'm measuring the widest spread just to see where we're at. So this is about 1.25. Okay, so all right, so what we're looking at on here, we got 115 grain Fiocchi ball ammo. Is held one of the tighter groups you got. So on these, just to show what groups are, this is the 115 grain Federal ball. This is Federal 124 grain ball, Winchester Lawman 124 grain, Federal 124 grain Hydroshocks, and Fiocchi 115. Okay, so as we're going through and we're always testing these guns out and everything, we're finding out that the SARs are really partial to the Fiocchi and the Federal. They're usually holding the best group. So this is an inch and both of these groups are an inch and a quarter, and it's kind of hard to distinguish when you're looking on video and things like that, as far as just trying to get a good feel for the group. It looks like this one here is actually a little bit bigger than this, but they're both really an inch and a quarter center to center. So the Fiocchi 115 is going to be a really good choice for your training round. This is going to be lower cost for you to be able to go out and shoot on a regular basis and still get accurate groups, maybe competitions, shooting on the weekends, training, stuff like that. But then when you go to your defensive rounds for this gun, you're going to want to choose the Federal Hydra-Shox 124 most likely. And of course, these are all things that you need to do as well. You need to go out, you need to test the gun yourself, shoot it with the different types of ammo that are available to you, because this is by no means a huge sample of different types of ammunition. And the fact that I'm human, and as you can see on here, I have mistakes in here with breathing. I'm stringing my groups here in a couple different shots on these where I'm stringing this way, but on the Federal I was stringing this way, so maybe I was a little bit fatter in the trigger than I was over here. So to take the human error out of it, or just to be able to get this down to where it shoots best for you, you should always take these out and shoot some in different types of ammo. But we're going to roll the rest of the day with the Fiocchi 115 grain just for doing some drills and stuff like that, and we'll go over and we'll shoot some steel and have some fun with it that way. So here we are, but the steel targets are about between 7 and 10 yards. We do a little shooting with the SAR 2000 here. So this stainless steel gun is feeling really good. It's absorbing a lot of recoil. It's got a lot of weight to it, so it's feeling really good in your hand. Just a little bit of the specs on this is the overall length on this gun is 8 inches. All right, so from end to end overall length. Overall height is about 5.5 inches. And then the overall width is 1.4 inches, okay? So just at its fattest part. And if you really wanted to slim this thing down, if you can take a look at this, of course the gun's safe. But you can see that the fattest part is really the palm swells on these rubber grips. So, but I really am liking these rubber grips on here. That fits really well in the hand, the swell does, along with the tang up here being nice and smooth. So this fits really well in the hand. But the overall weight of this gun is right at 35 ounces. So there's enough weight on here to absorb quite a bit of recoil when you're trying to drive the gun fast. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a little bit of shooting with it. Going hot. All right, so this thing's shooting really well. It's one of those things you just gotta practice with the gun, get the feel for it and everything. Recoil is a little bit different from some of the other guns I shoot, so I'm immediately wanting to drive down, even though I really don't have to, because I'm trying to anticipate for shooting for like a polymer frame gun or something. So my secondary shots are a little or hitting low because I'm automatically feeling like I have to drive the gun down. So this thing being a double single action, the initial trigger squeeze on this, with it being double action, feels like around 8 pounds, and the secondary trigger feels right around 3.5, something like that. So it's really good. There's a little bit of a wall right there before the trigger breaks. So you can feel it a little bit right before it breaks, but I'm sure just a little bit of polishing or something like that would tune that right up. So on this gun, you have a little bit of a bevel here for the magazine well. It's not a really big bevel. It could be opened up a little bit if you wanted to, but the cool thing about it is that you have enough meat in here. There's enough metal in here for you to be able to do anything like that if you want to open it up for a little bit of a faster reload. The grips on here are feeling really, really good. Used to shooting stippled polymer frame guns, things like that, and this rubber feels really good in the hand, but it provides a really nice, if you can see that profile there, provides a really nice palm swell through here. So that really fills up the hand, and that's something a lot of times you're not used to if you shoot a lot of polymers, and a lot of us do, because they dominate most of the self-defense market nowadays. But it has this nice ledge that comes up on here at the top of this grip, so no matter which hand you're shooting on, your thumb rests very ergonomically, perfectly right on there. So this big ledge on here is a really nice portion that I like. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot a little bit more. All right. Another great thing on this as well is that it comes up with this big beaver tail on here. This thing protects your hands. When you get into smaller guns or the guns that don't have the beaver tails on there, sometimes you get your hands get chewed up a little bit if you really get in a hurry and you get up in there really high and tight and your hand comes up over the back of it a little bit, gets kind of chewed up by the slide. One of the other really nice things on here is these big fat controls, okay? So these things are huge. You can't miss this safety or this slide lock. So when you go to actuate these, they're gonna come out really well. You're gonna be able to hit it right out of the holster, very instinctual when you come out to disengage the safety. Don't usually shoot a lot of guns with safeties myself. I'm usually shooting your Glocks or polymer frames or Fax and Hellfire or something like that with no safety. So it's something that's just a training hiccup for me. But getting back into this big, nice grooved area here feels really good once you put your hand up in there. Once you're trying to grip this and your hand slides right down from your safety position here where your finger is off the trigger to when you slide your finger down in to take the shot, it just slides intuitively right down onto the trigger. Has a really nice big curved trigger here. So one of the things that, you know, I'm a fan of flat triggers on some guns, but then there's a use for a big curved trigger so that when you pull your finger back into that curved trigger, it really slides right up into the middle and really gives you consistent trigger placement. So you find a lot of guns that have that, but then when you get into your high-end guns where people are trying to really work their, trying to really fine-tune their motor skills for competition or something, or your rifles or anything like that, that's when people generally start to go to more of your flat triggers. So this gun here is really going to make you a fairly consistent shooter with your finger placement on there. So your magazine release on here is really sticks out really well. It has a little knurling on it so your finger doesn't slip off. It doesn't go all the way back, but it's up there enough to where I don't really have to re-grip. So a lot of times on a lot of guns, when you come up and you go to do your magazine exchanges, a lot of us have to kind of turn the gun this way, and it's almost instinctual. This one here, I don't really have to. I can get my thumb all the way to it without having to do a major re-grip on the gun. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot a couple more here. So one of the things that you'll have to pay attention to with this one as well is that when you go for your press checks and your reloads, if you rack over the top or anything like that, this slide is recessed down into the frame a little bit deeper than most, okay? So when you go to grab a hold of this, you'll have to pay attention to your technique when you go to do this. Doing a press check from the front isn't really as easy because it's really thin, two, it comes back in your hand, hits the slide itself. So if you're used to doing that, you'll have to come back and you'll have to check it back here. But your purchase on the gun, this gun is meant to be a very fast, out of the holster and very quick transitioning gun, very, very fast to transition between the two. But you will have to work on your grip here and focus on your training on doing your press checks and your slide manipulations, because as you can see on this gun here, there's a very small window for this grip. Most of them come down about an inch or so with all these serrations on the back. These ones here you have very, very slim window, but what that does is that allows for this to not get caught and drag on things. So it just really depends on the style of gun you're looking for. But this SAR 2000 is shooting great for us. We've been shooting it for a little while today, and I think it's holding up really well, and it's putting out some decent groups on the steel. A big problem for me is that I've just got to learn how to run this gun a little bit longer. If I had this gun in my possession for a little while and I could really put some serious amount of rounds down range, I think this would be a very solid contender for a competition gun or something like that. But we like it here, and we hope you do too, and we'll see you next time on Gun Stuff.